All right, so today I'm gonna unbox the CRAVOT CyberRack E2 Plus. This is a 2-bike bike rack. Not only that, it's capable of holding upwards of 200 pounds and comes with an e-bike ramp. Let's not waste any time. Let's unbox this and take it out for a test ride. Nice foldable e-bike ramp. Look at that, that's nice. Has a hinge right in the middle. Looks like a bike frame holder. There's the main rack piece. Bar for the frame holder. Another bar for a frame holder. Some parts, an assembly guide. So I got some straps and then the other frame holder. Quite a few bolts, a hitch pin lock. It's threaded, so basically that means that it's gonna have a tensioner built into the actual rack. Some easy step-by-step instructions. So overall, the assembly of this bike rack was pretty easy. It took me about 15 to 20 minutes total time. So just follow the instructions and you'll be good. Okay, that was super easy to put together. Let's go ahead, let's put it on the back of my truck, load up some bikes, and see how well this thing transports your bikes down the road. Now, the CyberRack E2 does use a 2-inch hitch receiver, so you're gonna need to make sure that your vehicle is equipped with that. Okay, now that the bike rack is installed on the hitch, we can go ahead and install our locking hitch pin. Now, this is a little bit bigger than the average bike lock out there, so I'm using a 15/16 wrench to be able to fit this. So a very big bolt that is on this bike rack should keep it really secure. Pro tip for you guys, definitely when you buy this rack, just go ahead and buy a ratcheting wrench right off of Amazon that fits this bike rack. It'll save you so much time and hassle in the future. Okay, now that we've got the bike rack on here, it's gonna be pretty tight. May want to tighten this bolt down here. We're just gonna have to see because there is a little bit of movement here, but you don't want this to be extremely tight because otherwise you can't move the rack up and down, but we can probably actually tighten that a little bit more. Now to release this little pin right here, you're gonna pull out on this, twist it so it sticks out a little bit further. If you notice that this will drop back in there just like that. We can twist it open, then that comes unlocked. Now we should be able to pull up on this lever all the way and be able to tilt the bike rack. So now that we've got the bike rack all set up and ready to go, we can load up a bike by either lifting it up or we can use the e-bike ramp. I'll show you both methods. But these little wheel chocks will move back and forth. You're gonna wanna leave this kind of open until you get your bike on there. I recommend just pulling them back just like this. And then whenever your bike gets on there, we can push these forwards. But before you install your bike, make sure you open up these little straps right here. That way you can easily get them into your tire. So we're gonna go ahead and open both of those up, and then we're gonna load up our first bike, and then we'll use the e-bike ramp. So we're gonna load up this Aventon Level 3 commuter bike right here. It's not as heavy as, say, a fat tire bike, which we'll load up here in a minute. We'll be using the e-bike ramp for that one. You can take the wheel chock and you can just push it back up against the tire, making sure that it's tight, and then we can tighten this down. Once that's locked into place, you can strap your wheel and then just pull it tight. And now that we've got that secure, let's go ahead and raise up this arm. Might need to lean the bike back just a little bit, so hang on to the handlebar and raise this up. This will go all the way up to your seat post. You can also clamp it onto your top tube if you have a top tube bike. And then line it up with the top tube and then lean it up against it and put that strap through, locking it into place, and then we'll tighten this down. Simply twist this. Now your bike is held into place by both the rear wheel chock and the upper top bar. We're gonna go ahead and go back over here and just basically make sure that this is fully tightened down. Now we can move up to the front and put the front strap on. There we go. Our bike is fully secured and on the bike rack. Okay, for this one, we're gonna be using a little bit heavier bike, a fat tire bike, and we're gonna be using the included e-bike ramp. A lot of bike rack manufacturers charge you upwards of $80 to $180 for an e-bike ramp. It's included in this particular rack. Just simply open it up, and then over here on this side, you have two little openings to be able to secure this end into the rack. Once you've got that on there, you can just go ahead and it'll be locked into place. We can get our bike and we can load it up. You wanna make sure that your kickstand is up and you're grabbing onto both handles of the handlebar, and that way you can kind of just guide this bike up this ramp over that wheel chock and just making sure that you're watching that back tire the entire time. And then you can drop this into place. We can go ahead and slide this up and line it up with it just as if it was the frame of the bike. Once we've got that in there, we can lock this into place and we can tighten down our thumb screw back here. Now, when you have multiple bikes on here, this can get a little bit tight, if I'm honest with you, a little bit difficult to do, but once you've got this tight, you shouldn't have to adjust it while you're going down the road at all. And then whenever you're done with your e-bike ramp, don't forget to remove it. Just simply pull up. Now it'll fold up and you can store this in your vehicle while you go down the road. Very easy process, very easy rack to load up, easy to assemble. Now the question is, how does this ride going down the road? Let's find out.
Now, the combination of these two bikes is nowhere close to the 200-pound maximum that you can put on this bike rack. I took it through some of the regular roads that I drive on with these two bikes on there and found it to be a pretty stable bike rack overall. It's by far not the most stable bike rack, but you're also getting this bike rack at a really reasonable price for the stuff that comes with it. As you can see, this overhead view kind of shows you the amount of movement that you can expect going about 55 miles an hour on a backcountry road. So not too bad.
Now, one last thing I want to show you guys before we end this review is that the fact that this thing can actually be stowed upright whenever you're not actually using it. You just simply pull the lever there and it'll lock into place. Now, I know there are going to be a few people that are going to say that this is going to block your license plate, and all hitch racks do that. So there's no way for this to go around that unless you get some sort of an adapter to mount your license plate out to the outside. Now, this CRAVOT bike rack isn't a 100% perfect bike rack, but at the price of $399 with an e-bike ramp and the capacity to be able to store 100 pounds per tray for a total of 200 pounds, it's going to be a very accessible bike rack for most people out there riding fat tire e-bikes or just heavy e-bikes in general. All right, guys, if you want to pick up your own CRAVOT E2, make sure you check the link in the description. You can pick it up right there. And also, I'm going to be doing a review on their single bike rack here in the coming weeks. So if you don't need a dual bike rack, you might want to wait and check that one out because it'll hold one bike. It'll be a lot more compact, and it's just going to be a little bit easier to carry around if you're having to take it on and off your vehicle. All right, guys, get out there and ride your bike.